AT Christiansburg, WPIN AM Dublin, and W246CR Christiansburg.
It's the ESPN Blacksburg Sports Center at the top of the hour. The New York Jets are expected to hire Adam Gase as their new head coach. Sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington. Gase recently coached the Miami Dolphins for the past 3 seasons. In men's basketball, the number 9 ranked Virginia Tech men's basketball team overcame a terrible shooting performance to beat Georgia Tech 52-49 on Wednesday. Ahmed Hill scored a team-high 15 points, and Kerry Blackshear Jr. added 14 points and 10 rebounds as the Hokies inched out their 3rd ACC win of the season. And lastly, the Virginia Tech women's basketball team will take on rival UVA tonight at John Paul Jones Arena at 7 p.m. The Hokies look to pick up their first conference win of the season after dropping their first 2 ACC games following a 13-0 start. For your ESPN Blacksburg Sports Center, I'm Andrew Allen.
It's time now for The Drive.
Alrighty then.
On ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 97.1, and live on the web at ESPNBlacksburg.com.
It's The Drive on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Thursday afternoon to all of you. My name is Paul Van Wagner. The Reverend Mr. I'm Gonna Steal Your Girl, the Andrew Alex is in the other studio, frantically working the phones today. Taking your calls at 866-961-1430, 866-961-1430. How you doing, Rev?
I'm doing well, Paul.
Excellent.
I'm doing very well.
Excellent. And it is time. I am super. This is always one of my favorites.
Can't keep my hands to myself. No matter how hard I'm trying to.
Scott Nason.
I want
Scott.
all to myself.
Scott Nason. Scott.
I love Scott. Like a love song, baby. When you're ready, come and get
Scott Nason.
Scott.
Scott Nason. Scott Nason. Scott Nason.
Absolutely, let's go.
Scott Nason joining us today. How are you, my friend?
Doing wonderful, Paul. Great to be on your show and ready to talk about, well, whatever it is you want me to talk about.
Well, I sent you an email. Did you not get it?
I did. I'm just being coy with you.
Okay. Well, I was gonna. I'm. That's good because I'm changing it up because Mental Floss just came out with a list of the most popular condiments for each state, and I thought, I got some ties to Michigan. Scott's in Michigan. Obviously, Andrew and I got the Virginia thing going on, but Andrew's also from New Jersey, so I would kind of throw some of those out there today, just as we're doing the show. Does that sound fair? Does that? I mean,
Might as well.
All right. So let's start with Virginia, where we're at right now, and I will tell you that I am a buyer of this one, Andrew. The number 1 condiment in Virginia is Nutella. Yes, I will.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Wow, you don't seem at all excited about Nutella, Andrew.
You know I don't like chocolate-related things.
Well, okay, but that's I
know I'm the freak of nature out here.
You are.
I'm the one.
You are.
I'm the one who's going against the grain. I'm a young rebel.
You are. So I will give you the New Jersey one next because you coming from the Garden State, which is totally paved. How about Bertolli vodka sauce?
Oh, that makes plenty of sense. Okay. I could use myself some Bertolli vodka sauce right now.
All right.
Or just vodka.
Yeah, well, either one. Bertolli is pretty popular, Scott, because in Michigan, Bertolli Alfredo with aged Parmesan cheese sauce is the number 1 condiment, according to Mental Floss.
One, I don't even know what that is, and where's ketchup? Wouldn't that be the most simple one? I'm a simple man. Just give me some ketchup, and I'm good to go.
Interestingly enough, ketchup did not make anyone's list. I'm assuming that they probably steered you, if you were one of the people that were asked about this, I'm sure they probably steered you away because mayonnaise doesn't appear on here. French's classic yellow mustard does in a couple of different states, but Yeah.
My theory on that is that ketchup and mayonnaise, I assume, are probably used at about the same rate nationally. So that's like your mean. That's your mean.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
Because the way that they do these, it's like, what is the state? What do they use in this state more so at a higher rate than any other state would use? And I'm assuming people use ketchup at relatively the same rate, so it's unlikely. Where is French's yellow mustard the most popular?
Well, actually, in Pennsylvania, Heinz ketchup is the most popular.
Oh, well, that's just like religion for them.
Yeah, that is true. French's yellow mustard. Now, where did I just see it? Hold on, let me find it. French's classic
France?
yellow mustard, Delaware, gentlemen, Delaware.
Interesting.
Kansas, the state of Kansas, I think I may have to move there. Their favorite is Country Crock. So there you go. I felt like I needed to kick off the show with that today. Let's move on and talk sports, shall we?
Please. I don't even know what half those things are, to be quite honest.
Scott, your mission, should you choose to accept it, I want you to go to the Myers in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Notice I added the S. I want you to search for Bertolli Alfredo with aged Parmesan cheese sauce. I want you to try it, and I want a report on it next week.
Roger that. We're on it.
All right. I will forget, so if you don't do it, it's okay. Let's talk a little NFL. We've got so last week's picks went well for everybody named JW. He went 4-0 last week. Scott with 3 wins, and I believe Trey, Andrew, and I with 2 each last week.
In other news, hell is frozen over.
Yeah.
And pigs are flying.
Well, JW did win the toilet bowl in our fantasy football league after putting in a lineup a grand total of 5 times this year. So
proud of him for everything he's accomplished.
Yeah. So sometimes the sun shines on a dog's butt. That's all I'm saying. Indianapolis Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. Scott, this one has got a couple of quarterbacks that have slung the ball all over the field this year.
Yeah, they really have. Patrick Mahomes in his 50 for Kansas City and Andrew Luck in his 39. Lots of passing touchdowns. And, you know, you look at this game, Indianapolis, the hottest team in the league, now that Baltimore was knocked out, taking on a Kansas City team. You think of Kansas City at Arrowhead, and you get excited if you're a Chiefs fan. Well, at least you should. Maybe you shouldn't be excited if you're a Chiefs fan, because the Chiefs at home in the playoffs, they're downright brutal. Since 1994, they're 1-10 in the playoffs, which isn't good. They're 0-6 at home. As a matter of fact, the last time they won a home playoff game, Joe Montana was their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton was in his first year as president back in 1993. So, you know, this game, I think the home teams are in good shape overall. This is the one I'm not quite sure on, just because of history and Kansas City trying to buck a trend.
All time in the playoffs, the Colts are 4-0 against the Chiefs. Now, that being said, a lot of that had to do with a cat by the name of Peyton Manning a few years ago. You might remember him. He had some success against the Chiefs. So, but still, trends do indicate that maybe not the best matchup for the Chiefs. But gosh, I mean, this is a team that has just put up points at a Big 12 level, and it doesn't feel like they're going to stop anytime soon, does it?
You know, I don't think so, Paul. Despite everything I just said, I still think Kansas City finds a way to get this. The key to them, I think, is how their defense performs, specifically the defensive line. If you can get to Luck, which is hard to do this year, but if you can get him under pressure, that's when you have a good chance of winning the game. Luck under duress, much like most quarterbacks, not as successful. But Luck, I think, turns even worse and doesn't have as much luck. And you know, if you're Indianapolis, you want to look at keeping Mahomes inside the pocket, because once he gets outside the pocket, he gets those shortstop vibes and slings some passes that we really haven't seen. So I really think it's which defense steps up, specifically the defensive lines. I still like Kansas City in this one. I just can't pick against them this week.
The late game on Saturday is the Cowboys and the Rams. You talk about two teams that get their differently. The Rams with kind of that wide open style of offense, and the Cowboys just going to look to grind that thing out, get the ball into Zeke Elliott's hands probably 30 times, and then let their defense do the rest. This game has the making of that strength on strength matchup that I just love in sports.
Yeah, it really does. You look at this Dallas team, they live and die with Ezekiel Elliott, and really the magic number, I think, for him is carries. Mm-hmm. He needs to get over 20 carries. If he gets over 20 carries, that means he's running the ball. The Cowboys aren't having to rely on a pass offense that has been inconsistent, if nothing else. I think the Rams have more opportunities if their running game gets shut down, and, it may will against a really good Dallas team, one of the best teams in the league against the rush. Todd Gurley, obviously putting up a lot of yards during the regular season, but he well could be shut down, and I think the Rams have more room for error if their running game gets stopped, which I think it will, but I still think they have too many weapons on the offense. And the Cowboys in the playoffs have not been good, especially on the road, so I like the Rams in this one comfortably.
Goff or Dak, I mean, if it comes down to neither running game working, I feel like Goff is kind of your better option, isn't he?
I think so, and again, you're playing that game at home. The Rams got there last year. I think they just needed to get there to get the experience. I think they're in a position now to win at least one game. I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they win this one. Dallas on the road in the playoffs have just been abysmal, and they haven't been to a conference championship game since Super Bowl XXX, and by my math, I believe that's 30. That was a while ago.
Okay, that I believe was the last time. Scott also had a date. No, I'm kidding. That's not true.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Just shots across the shots fired, my friend. Shots fired. Chargers, Patriots. You know, I love me some Tom Brady coming out of Michigan, and I'm not exactly buying Phillip Rivers. This is two old dudes going to take the field and try to lead their teams down the field with their walkers. Who you got in this one?
I got the Patriots. I have to. I picked them to make the Super Bowl. Yeah. Chargers look good. The only game I did not get last week. Chargers look good on both sides of the ball, but it's a different story when Phillip Rivers takes on Tom Brady. This is a guy that has owned that matchup, and he's owned a lot of playoff matchups. A team that has won a lot of games at home, and a team that just knows how to win these types of games. Again, the Patriots during this regular season, less than spectacular. They didn't really, put up a lot of big wins, but they won their division again. They get a first-round bye again. I think the Chargers, they're pretty much overachieving as far as many people thought. I like the Patriots in this one. Give me Patriots by 10.
The stat that interests me, and you mentioned the fact that that Tom Brady has really kind of owned Phillip Rivers in those games. You look at other quarterbacks that have owned their opponents. Steve Young and Jim Everett. Steve Young 8-0 against Jim Everett. And then Steve Bartkowski was 9-0 against the matriarch of the Manning family, Archie, or patriarch of the Manning family, Archie. That one I find to be very interesting.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Archie Manning, 0-9 against the Bartman there. Another one, Jim Kelly, a guy that didn't perform in the Super Bowl over one of my favorites, Jeff George. He was also 7-0. So, hey, you know what? Streaks are meant to be broken. It's going to be tough, though. New England, they've won 8 straight playoff games at home. They've also went 8-0 this year at home during the season. Chargers got to make that long trip back east again. This just seems like a game New England should win, and I think they will.
A coach-quarterback combo that has not lost a game at home in the Super Bowl era is Sean Payton, Drew Brees. They are 5-0 together in the postseason in games played in the Superdome. They take on the Philadelphia Eagles along with Nick Foles, who should be the Eagles' starting quarterback next year. Trade Carson Wentz. I'm just saying. This game intrigues me because I think a lot of people have the Saints penciled in to win the Super Bowl, but this Philadelphia team is definitely not going to roll over and just lay down for anyone.
Not at all. And as I said last week when I picked them to upset the Bears, they're playing on the house's money right now. There's no pressure on Philly. This is a team that went down to New Orleans in week 11, 12, whatever it was. Granted, they had Carson Wentz at quarterback, and they just got crushed. You're not going to see a 48-7 game, I think, on Sunday. I think the game's going to be a little closer than a lot of people think. Drew Brees at home, and that New Orleans team rested, maybe rusty, possibly, that considering a lot of their starters didn't play their last regular season game. So you're talking about 2-3 weeks off for some of these players. We'll see if that has any effect, especially early on in the game. But I still got to pick New Orleans in this one. Foles is a good story. I don't know how this guy doesn't have the starting lineup or the starting quarterback position locked up by now. All the guy does is win.
Yeah.
His completion percentage since he's returned is almost 80%. Granted, they had a little help from a couple uprights there in that game, and good to see the Bears fans classy ways of ending that game. Keep it classy, Chicago. But I like New Orleans in this one. Maybe closer than people think. Give me the Saints by, we'll say 9.
All right, so we got to go back through. I know you made your picks, but we got to go back through. Andrew, I believe you have the spreadsheet up and ready.
Oh, it's up.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning here, Scott Nason, and I've got Trey and JW's picks, so we're going to make sure we give those out also. Colts at the Chiefs, Saturday at 4:35. Scott Nason, who did you take in that game?
I got the Chiefs. Despite the history and the Chiefs' playoff record, I just think this Chiefs team's a little bit different. They're going to pressure Andrew Luck, and he's going to make some big mistakes. Give me the Chiefs.
Trey also has the Chiefs. JW is taking the Colts. Andrew, Alex, who you got?
I'm going to say, I think what you're saying, Scott, it is very important that pressuring Andrew Luck is the key to this game, but the Colts have allowed the least sacks in the league this year. Quentin Nelson, the rookie first-round pick, ended up being a first-team All-Pro. Their second-round pick, Darius Leonard, the middle linebacker on the other side, also a first-team All-Pro. This team went from really, really bad, like second overall pick stuff, to suddenly you're looking at them as a Super Bowl contender. Andrew Luck's playing as well as he did in any season of his career. Experience trumps the youth, and Indianapolis will knock off Kansas City.
I too am going to take Indianapolis in this. I feel like there's a couple things going against Kansas City. One, the fact that they don't win as a franchise, but then their coaching staff is a little suspect come playoff time. Andy Reid hasn't had the best success in the playoffs, so I
fancy
will.
way to say choke artist?
Yes. I was trying to be, PC about it, but yes, exactly. I will also take Andrew Luck and the Colts. Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Rams. Andrew, as a fan of a team in the NFC East, not the Cowboys, I am going to allow you to make the selection on this one first. You got the Cowboys, your arch nemesis, or are you going with the Rams at home?
Paul, I mean, this is a very tough one, and Scott, once again, hit a lot of the points on the head. It's going to come down to this run game, and can Ezekiel Elliott get going? But there's a man in the middle for the Los Angeles Rams by the name of Aaron Donald. Not only will he be able to stop that run, but he'll be able to put a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott in the pass game. I think that when Zeke isn't going, the fact that Dak is not really a top 15 quarterback in this league is going to show. The Rams have more talent on the offensive side of the ball, at least, and I think that will show on Sunday. The Cowboys will give them a run for their money, and this is one of my less confident picks I'm going to make, but I'm going to go with the Rams to advance.
Trey and JW are also going with the Rams. Scott, who you got in this one?
Well, the Cowboys have a long road playoff losing streak. The only team longer, the Detroit Lions, 11-game road playoff losing streak. Since 1957, baby. Way to go, Lions.
Yes.
Give me the Rams in this one.
Well, I'm going to make this really interesting and take the Rams also. So that pretty much alleviates that.
So now we've guaranteed that the Cowboys are going to
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Chad brings up a good point. Rams give up a league worst 5.1 yards per rush. I mean, that plays right into Dak's hand, or rather Zeke's hand, but I just don't know. Like, I'm not sold on Dak Prescott. I mean, he makes a good Campbell Soup commercial. I don't know that he makes a good NFL quarterback. Chargers at the Patriots. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, all Tom Brady does is win, and I'm going to take the New England Patriots. It looks like Trey is taking the Chargers, and JW is taking the Pats. Scott Nason, who you got?
All Tom Brady does is win in the playoffs, especially at home. Give me the Patriots.
I like it. Double A?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this and you look just talent-wise, how many guys on the Patriots can you really name outside of Tom Brady that jumped out to you? For the Chargers, I mean, it's Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Derwin James, Bosa, so on and so forth, Keenan Allen. But, like you said, Scott, long trip, Los Angeles to New England. It's going to be cold. The Patriots are comfortable there. And, if New England gets off to a hot start, which I believe they will, I think they'll be advancing to the AFC Championship game for the millionth year in a row. I could be very wrong here, but I'm not going to pick against Tom Brady until I'll see him lose. I'll die on the hill saying he's going to win until some other team can prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's probably a decent hill to die on. I mean, at least you're pretty comfortable on that hill, and there's a lot of people that are going to join you there. Scott Nason, Philadelphia at New Orleans. Tough one for Philly. Foles Magic, are you buying?
I'm buying to a certain point, but I picked New Orleans to get to the Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl, and I got to keep with New Orleans right now. Foles a great story. I love the fact that him and Breeze both went to the same high school in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
They both started in the Big Ten. They wear number 9. Oh, by the way, they're both also Super Bowl MVP. So only one MVP can win on Sunday in the Dome, and give me that one to be Drew Brees and the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with Scott. I really think it's tough to pick against the Saints in the Superdome, so I'm going to take the Saints. No surprise here. Trey took the Eagles, Andrew.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I thought Trey took
Or I'm sorry, no, I lied.
No, you're thinking
JW.
J-Dub.
JW took the Eagles, yeah.
JW in his pit of misery, just
Yep.
assuming that the Eagles are going to win it all. And honestly, I feel what he's feeling.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this movie before. But, I mean, for me, the Saints don't lose in that dome. Drew Brees having a career year, very late in his career. The Eagles are banged up in the secondary. This Foles magic is good, but at the same time, you think about the game that he played against Chicago. Yeah, he threw for a good amount of yards, but 2 picks. New Orleans is going to be able to capitalize on those turnovers in a way that the Bears can't. And this is a secondary that let Mitch Trubisky throw for over 300 yards against them.
True.
Give me the Saints. They're the best team in the NFC, and they will roll at home against the Philadelphia Eagles, setting up a whirlwind of an offseason that we can talk about every day with Trey.
Trey did actually take the Saints in this contest, which I'm disappointed in him for doing that. That feels so unfan-like of Trey. Scott Nason, where can our listeners get more great stuff from you and the rest of your crew?
You can go to the website, thegamesportshow.com. There you'll find a bevy of different shows covering a bevy of different topics. I use bevy twice in the same sentence. I don't think I've ever done that.
I like it. Scott, as always, my friend, thank you so much for doing this. You have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next week when we get to what I think is maybe the best week in the NFL as far as playoffs are concerned, the championship weeks. We'll have some great matchups for that week, all right?
Can't wait, Paul. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks again.
Thanks, Scott. There you go. Scott Nason, we appreciate him joining us right here on The Drive.
You're listening to ESPN Blacksburg, where sports rule. 93.1